theme before. Who was... That guy used to be on the radio. Yeah, he used to play his teeth. Play, stuff. He had that Talking Eagle. Terrific show. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I'm bringing up there big, will you please, Marty? Tonight is a truncated program for... Truncated, that's a good word. Yeah. That's the Reader's Digest version. We'd like to dedicate tonight's program to people who lard their conversation with interesting quotes from the Reader's Digest. You know, spark up your thinking department there. So we got many things. Bring it up there big there. It's kind of late, so, we're just going to wing it here. A lot of things. Might as well take our coat off. We're going to stay a while here. What the heck? And here he is, Big Charlie, the star of our show. Look it up. All right, that's enough, Marty. Just kill it there. We don't have enough time for all that horn blowing. And no, we got to get right to it. You know, I'll tell you, there was an exciting election. No question about it. I'm sorry. All elections are exciting. They are. I'm a real sucker for elections. And if I had $1 for every radio and television studio I have stayed in on an election night, when they bring in the rubber sandwiches, they always do that on election nights in radio stations and TV stations. I don't know why. It's just kind of a tradition. And, waited till the returns came in, and they were always switching to headquarters, and then you'd hear them. And then we'd pick it up again. And there's always a Lester Smith who was analyzing the returns with great objectivity and seriousness and so on, which, it's all part of the whole... It's as classical these days as a Westernism. Yes, the anchor man. The anchor man is a new major American hero. And yes, the anchor man. And in fact, there's even a novel about the anchor man now. He's a very special type of guy, and he's a sort of cross combination of Walter Cronkite, who is the definitive anchor man. A little touch of Frank McGee, a little dash of Lester Smith, a little spritz of W.C. Fields, and you've got the ultimate anchorman. Sure, because after all, being an anchorman is part of showbiz. You have to sort of radiate the gravity of the situation all the time. You can't say, "Oh my God, look at this! Look at who they're voting for, this clown!" Oh, you can't betray your feelings. But nevertheless. I enjoy elections. I've been involved. I used to, on several occasions, I was assigned to headquarters, as I've told you from time to time. So I've sat in there in those places where the candidate comes to make his acceptance speech and so forth. By the way, one of man's most, and it has to be, one of man's most dire moments that I can imagine is making a concession speech. I mean, it must not be easy to be able to concede that you have gotten your hide whopped decisively. Have you ever thought about that very few people in their own lives, private people, ever make a concession speech? Oh, very few people ever concede anything in their lives. I'm sorry. Oh, no. You just don't do it. It's a rare thing. And they don't call upon you to make a concession speech when you're fired from the accounting department. And it would be kind of good, I think if when you think about it that way, you realize the enormity of the concession speech problem. Now, let's say you're the account man on the JPIP account. And, of course, JPIP sales have been falling precipitously in the last 6 months. And that sneaky brother-in-law of Mr. JPIP himself has been hanging around, and he's going to get the job. The next thing you know, you're out on your you-know-what. Well, before you leave, you stand up on your desk, and you say, I want to thank all of you here tonight, and I want to thank especially all of you guys that stood behind me during the difficult times we had here in the accounting department. I even want to thank you guys that had the knife out for me. And don't think I didn't know who you was. And I want to thank the guys in the personnel department who kept me here in this job as long as they did. And I want to thank all the girls down in the steno pool who stood behind me in everything that I wanted to do, especially that time at the Christmas party 2 years ago, what we had on the Starlight roof. And a lot of you remember what was said after that when it wasn't true. And I want to thank all of you people who are going to vote for me in the future, and I'm going to come back. And I want to, more than anything else, I want to wish good luck to my successor, in spite of the fact that he is an obvious fink, a guy not to be trusted. But to those of you who believe in the JPIP account, we want to make sure that this account is treated the way it should be treated. And I want to thank all of you. And now I want to introduce my wife, Mabel. She's crying a little bit, but that's all right, Mabel. We're going to go on vacation now, but we're going to come back, gang. It's cha-cha-cha-choo. Ba-ba, ba-ba. Thank you. It's kind of nice, wasn't it? Of course, a lot of stuff doesn't work out the way you think it's going to work out. It just doesn't. That's going to be interesting over there. Fascinating election. And, yeah, it really was. And quite, no doubt a historic one, too, actually. But, every election in its own way is historical. And the thing about elections, though, that are so interesting to me is how quickly you forget them. It's true, how quickly the thing that you're really caught up in, you're tremendously caught up in some fantastic thing, and all of a sudden it's all over, and a couple of years later you hardly even remember. You say, oh, yeah, who is that? Oh, yeah, I remember that. And of course, I suspect that life is based on that premise, that we have in our mind a kind of self-damping, self-erasing tape. And yes, because if your mind was crowded with all the battles you've ever fought and sweated over and lost, or conceivably won, all of them kept clear and clean and as sharp and as dynamically excruciating as they were at the time, I think you'd probably flip your wig. I mean, you could never sleep. Later, it's sweating it out. Well, of course, the only time that I ever personally delivered a concession speech, and I one time delivered a concession speech, and so I know a little bit of, I have a faint taste of what it's like to stand up before your peers and be booed. I mean, literally to be hooted down. Now, I think that's why, I think one of the reasons why many of us I'm just talking here sort of semi-philosophically, if you can do that. That's kind of nice to be able to do that, too. Sprinkle little nuts on the top of it there with a cherry, and it'll work out. But nevertheless, I think that one of the reasons why people, the intellectual type, sort of universally puts down politicians. Oh, yeah, people, you use the word politician, most people say, what is a politician? Goes, yeah, that politician, they're all crooks. This sort of sardonic attitude towards politicians is also shared by many intellectuals who have a sardonic attitude towards athletes. Oh, yeah, come on, bunch of knuckleheads. What are you talking about? Just because a guy can swing a bat, what's he? Oh, yeah, you find them putting down athletics. Unless it's Joe Namath, you see, and he's sort of the darling of the intellectuals. He hangs around Leroy Neiman's place and, talks to Gloria Steinem and all that. But actually, they haven't the slightest concept of what he actually does out there on the football field. And before we get too deeply involved in this Kierkegaardian mess of pottage here, how about hitting a couple of the money buttons there, please, will you, Marty? Speaking of a mess of pottage, oh yeah, Shepard's got his price. They ain't met it yet.
All you have to do to like it is try it. All you have to do to like it is try it. Dr. Pepper, oh, it's so good. Dr. Pepper, oh, it's so good. Dr. Pepper, yeah, Dr. Pepper, the most misunderstood soft drink in America. All right.
Dr. Pepper may be America's most misunderstood soft drink, but not for long.
Yeah, you liked that, didn't you? That's the way it is. You know, that's one of the very first jobs I ever had in showbiz. You curious about that, Marty? Playing a Jew's harp. No, seriously, I played a Jew's harp. One of the very first jobs that I had in showbiz with an outfit called Chuck Acree and his Colorado Cowhands. And that's right, and I was Cousin Gene. And you want to set that commercial up again? I'll show you what I used to do, see? Now, it would be something like this, see? No, it's all right. So just set the same one up again. That's all right. I'll take responsibility for it. I know old Doc Pepper himself, and he wouldn't mind. Now, here's the way it used to go. See, I played Cousin Gene, and I'd come out and I'd say, it was always sent to you by Purina Chick Chow, and it was in the Ohio River Jamboree, and I'd say, well, folks, time now for old Chuck to really swing into one. Here he comes now. Chuck and the boys are plucking and singing. Once you keep them cards and letters writing in, I think I'll sit in on Jew's harp myself. So let's go, Chuck. Let's hear it.
Hey, all you have to do
Yeah, sing it, Chuck, sing it.
Try it. Hey, all you have to do to like it is try it. Dr. Pepper, oh, it's so good. Dr. Pepper, oh, it's so good.
Yeah, folks. Chuck Acree and the Colorado Cowhands is sent to you every weekday at the same time by Purina Chick Chow. Time now, that big old clock on the wall says it's time to quit. We'll be back next week at this time. Woo-hoo! Let's hear it, Chuck, boy. Let's hear it. Yeah. So long, folks. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time.
Dr. Pepper may be America's most misunderstood soft drink.
I don't know who that guy... I'm sorry. See how quick you get into character? Gotta admit, I did it pretty good. But now let's see. We've got a couple of others here. So set it up, Big Marty. Hit the ding-dong, please. Oh, this is a mysterious one.
I'll stop here.
Little slice of life
I
commercial.
see the Polynesian restaurant. It's a Chevron Island service station. Fill it with Chevron Supreme. George says it keeps the carburetor clean, Gladys. And we get quicker starts, terrific power, and no engine knocks. Eddie, look at all the South Seas decorations. I'll bet it is a Polynesian restaurant.
All done, ma'am. Anything else?
Why, yes. I'd like some Samoan chicken, the looky-looky coconut.
Oh, yeah, I know several people in Staten Island that are taking their vacation this year at, Chevron Island. It's lovely. Swim around there in the grease sump down there, and, get your oil changed every couple hours. It's kind of fun. It is, especially when they're checking your plugs.
We took a big, quiet Ford Galaxy 500, and we added a vinyl roof. We added all vinyl interior trim and special metallic paint.
Vinyl. It's very exciting.
We added chrome rocker panel moldings and chrome door edge guards for better-looking, longer-lasting value. And we added beautiful deluxe wheel covers. Yep, we added all those extras to a Ford Galaxy 500. And then cut the total price by $110. See for yourself, it's right there on the price sticker. Now stop and ask yourself a question. In these days of high costs, doesn't it make good sense to buy from the guy who gives you more? Galaxy 500 is the same luxury-equipped car it's always been. Still has that famous quiet ride. And right now, Ford Galaxy 500's got all those extras. And we actually cut the total price $110. Come on. See your Ford dealer during his economy drive.
Hey, what's his tag here, Marty? It says tag. Lee, it says tag. Loud, sustained scream. Now, wait a minute. Now, do I have to do that? Okay. Jeez, what you don't have to do in this racket. Keep your head above water. Do you notice Johnny Carson doesn't have to do any of that stuff? He's got Ed McMahon, old fat Ed, who does that. Oh, yeah. Nothing like being second banana on a talk show. Then once in a while, the second banana gets promoted to first banana. Then the show gets Dullsville. Oh, yeah, there's a big difference between second bananas and first bananas. First bananas get fired all the time. Second bananas just sit there and smile and hold up dog food cans. And become beloved. Hey, you've got another one in there. We're trying to get them all here together, and we're having a little montage, a little panorama of commercial radio here. And there's nothing more exciting than the commercial for a new movie. And, yeah, it's often more exciting than the movie, as a matter of fact. In fact, I personally have done some commercials for movies that were real zingers, 58 seconds of sheer, unadulterated, nerve-tingling drama. And I one time had to sit through the movie that I made the commercial for. And, we're going to have to answer for a lot. Can you imagine? Hey, speaking of answering for a lot, who is this announcer? There's one announcer that does almost all the commercials. Now, I should know all the people that are doing announcing, commercials. But who is this guy? He really bugs me. He's always talking like this. Buy yourself. He's got this kind of voice. Say, fellas, you hear him. He's on 1,000 commercials. He's the kind that goes like this. Starts tomorrow at Columbia Showcase Presentation Theaters. He's got the whoo ding dong whoo bing ding zapparooey voice. It's got a little thing. Let's try one here. Hit the button again, Mark.
She was a woman of the world, sophisticated and secure. He was a man of the mountains, primitive and
me, man,
both
mountain,
of them married
me, tough,
to
primitive.
someone else. Both of them beyond the recklessness of youth, and yet together they did the most reckless thing two people can do. They fell in love. Columbia Pictures proudly presents Anthony Quinn and Ingrid Bergman in A Walk in the Spring Rain. Every man thinks his wife is happily married, and every woman wants to be faithful. But after a long winter of marriage, there's a certain longing to come alive again, to feel desired again, to experience one more wild and wonderful moment that will keep you warm for the rest of your life. A Walk in the Spring Rain, in color, rated GP, all ages, parental guidance.
Oh, wowee. Well, that's the stuff that Mrs. Bruner used to read in True Romances. That sounds exciting. As springtime meets December in the Rockies of life. Hey, by the way, this exciting moment on film starts tomorrow at Columbia Showcase Presentation Theaters. Don't miss it. La-da-da. No, I'm just trying to think. There's several announcers that I hear that really bug me. I speak professionally here. And there's this one guy. I don't know how he gets all these jobs. He's got this voice. And he talks like that all the time. Like he's all excited all the time. And no matter what he says, it goes up and down. Now playing at Columbia Showcase Presentation Theaters. She. And then there's this other one that says, give a damn. Absolutely without any humor at all. He says, if you think that you're doing enough, give a damn. Oh, boy, he makes me want to contribute to whatever they're, asking me to contribute to. You know that one. He's an exciting one. Then there's the one that's so elegant. So it's a very elegant voice. The one that says, dirt. Yes, the many children get dirt on their clothes when they go out. Dirt. Johnson & Johnson. And, of course, that's part of the ponderosity factor. By the way, that's a great name for a new Western, isn't it? Ponderosity Valley. And that always opens up. You could get Keir to play in that. He makes a great Westerner, yeah. I'll never, of course, Keir is an old friend of mine, and he laughs about that. One time he had a fight in a film, see? And, Keir weighs about, 107 pounds, roughly. That is when he's holding his weightlifting set. And, Keir Dullea. He's a good actor. And Keir, a big guy, what are you talking about? If he's a big guy, what do you think Anthony Quinn is, then? If you think Keir Dullea is big, well, how do you handle John Wayne, friend? I mean, Keir's a nice guy, but he ain't big. No, not at all. Anyway, Keir Dullea was telling me about the time. He says, very embarrassed. See, he says, hey, come on, listen to me now. If you hear the story, you can talk about Keir Dullea. I'll give you his measurements later if you're curious. But Keir is a very small fellow, and he's quite athletic, but he's not a big guy. And so Keir had this fight in this film, and he was fighting the bad guy, of course, because either Keir plays a kook or he plays the beautiful person. He runs from one end of the gamut to the other, but never in between. So he was playing this totally beautiful person, say, out in the West, and he's having this fight with the bad guy, who's played by somebody like Clag Slaggett, a giant guy with big guy with about a 12-inch waist and 74-inch chest, and he was about 7 feet 2, big, heavy, the tremendous jaw, prognathous jaw, tremendous guy, and incidentally, an ex-serious heavyweight contender. So, he really was. And a good actor, but he always plays heavies because anybody with blue jowls has to play heavy, especially with a women's lib on. That is heavy, man. So anybody with blue jowls, he's no good. So did you see that one commercial, by the way? Hey, I don't know whether they juxtapose these things sometimes innocently or whether it's done with malice aforethought. But have you seen the commercial that comes on that says you can always tell the good guys from the bad guys? And it's in color. It's a well-produced commercial. And it shows the bad guys riding away like mad. See, they've just pulled a big heist somewhere, and they're riding on their scroungy-looking horses. Bad guys always have bad-looking horses. See, they don't have these beautiful white horses. So they're riding away on these real furry, rotten-looking horses, riding like mad. See, and their hats are pulled down. They got these black, scroungy-looking hats. And the announcer comes out and says, of course, you can always tell the bad guys because they look badly shaved. They're ill-shaven and scruffy. I mean, anybody that's got a scruffy-looking chin is obviously a bad guy. So it shows these guys riding into the hills like mad, and they suddenly leap into the bushes. They hide in the bushes, and they whip out their electric razors. See, they quickly shave off their stubble. And then they become very clean-looking, very beautiful, chiseled profiles. They jump on their horses, and they ride out again, and the real good guys come riding up. Say, you guys seen any bad guys ride this way? And this big, handsome ex-Jack Palance type, his skin is shining in the sun. He says, nope. He says, I believe I did, come to think of it. I believe they rode that away. And the good guys go, off they go, looking for the guys with the bad jowls. See, well, I dig that one. But I saw that commercial the other night. Somebody stuck it in the middle of a newscast right after they did a brief essay on these guys out in California. Have you been reading about these guys out in the Monterey Peninsula, where the unemployment service refuses to pay checks now out there to guys with big beards and long hair because they figure those guys aren't serious about getting a job because they'll never get a job going in. You're not going to walk in and pick up a job that quick, get a big giant beard. Well, this guy finishes. He says, I think. They had this hippie type, and he said, well, man, I think what kind of hair I have on my head is my own business, like, and well, what are you going to do? I mean, I got the beard. I express myself that way. And then with that, the CBS or the NBC type announcer comes in. He says, this is Charlie Brown in the Monterey Peninsula, and now back to CBS Central. And with that, they cut to the commercial, and the announcer says, you can always tell the good guys because they're clean-shaven. Then the bad guys, they went right into it. If you keep your eyes open, you see a lot of stuff, I'll tell you. But nevertheless, Keir was in this big fight. I don't know why I'm telling you this silly story, but he was in a fight in the movie, see, and they didn't know what to do because he was obviously a foot and a half shorter than the other guy. See, and it looks kind of silly for Keir to have to jump up and hit him, see, all the time. It's kind of a silly shot. So they put Keir on top of some kind of a platform, which you didn't see. See, they cut him off in the waist and the film frame there, And so he's fist fighting this guy, and this guy's down on the ground saying he's fighting away. and sure enough, naturally, what happens? A good guy always wins. So he finally belts him. You know, Western fights are a classic thing, too. There's always a scene in a fight where the guy has been knocked flat, see, and the bad guy comes rushing at him. With that, the good guy sticks his feet up of the bad guy's gut and flips him back over his head, you know, all that stuff. You've seen that a million times. Yeah, they always do that. There's always somebody that falls through the railing of the balcony in the Silver Dollar Bar, too. That's always good for a couple of seconds of, you know, frames. And so, anyway, Keir's fighting this guy. Well, naturally, when the final big moment comes, he belts him a shot. You know, the guy, whoa, he staggers back, and he lays there quiver, you know, this giant behemoth of a man, and he's laying there on the ground there, and there's a quick shot of Keir's face, you know, looking battered, but romantically handsome and righteous and all that stuff. Well, a couple of weeks after that, see, this film opens up, you know, and it shows Keir beating you're really beating this guy up. So a couple of weeks after the film opens, and here's this big guy sitting in a restaurant, see, and he's eating a salad or something. He's knocking down a 7-pound steak. Yeah, he eats it raw. See, he's the kind of guy that just picks it up in his hands. He don't mess around with forks. He just tears pieces out, chews the bone up. Well, in comes Keir. See, Keir's kind of a delicate-looking guy, and he walks in, and hey, how are you, Keir, baby? You know how they are in Hollywood. And Keir says, hello, how are you? You know, and so he waves back. And a couple of people started to laugh because they had seen the film. See, they saw, and now all of a sudden they see two of them there. With that, the guy gets up just as a gag. He walks over to Keir, and he just picks him up by the scruff of the neck. And he holds him up, you know. He's taking a swing at me. With that, Keir's, whoa, Keir takes a couple of swings. He staggers back and lays on the floor. That's the way it was done, folks. And these little moments in showbiz. Speaking of little moments in showbiz, let's see, I've done Dr. Pepper. Year one, of course, year one. We've got showbiz going all over here. And if you have not ordered your year one poster, you got to get on the shtick, friends. And I mean that both ways. Get on your own little shtick there. And it suddenly hit me, speaking of shticks, I just suddenly thought of Barbra Streisand. I don't know why. But if you would like to have a year one poster, and it's worth the dough, every bit of it, and, you know, I'm getting more wild letters from people about this thing, you know, both flipping out, and I got a nice little letter that said, Mr. Shepard, I just received your year one poster. It's strange. And if you say it's nice, well, I guess it is. I want to be with it. I want to be happy, you know. Well, thank you, baby. You're making a nice try, but you're going to have to start with your left hand. We'd like to suggest that you send $2 in check or money order to year one for this beautiful, fantastic, strange, phantasmagoric poster. Year one, 460 West 34th Street, New York, New York. And that's the heart of the Mystic Belt of New York. That's 460, yes, West 34th Street, New York, New York. And the area code is 10000000001. You just write it down. And they'll send you your money back if you're not flipped out of your bird. That's year one. Well, it's been an exciting night. We've had an election. Yes, sir. Shepard sat in with Chuck Akery and the Colorado Cowhands. You didn't think we'd get all this in 22 minutes, did you? Did some commercials, had a fist fight with a Western hero, gave a salute to Keir Dullea. Let's see, what else did we do? We did pretty good, yeah. Well, we did a lot, yeah. Shepard was his usual trivial, banal self, but outside that, you try saying that now. Well, I will. Doggone it. Bring it up there big. Thank you very much. It's not easy, friend.